42nd chapter. 42nd chapter in one word. It's a concept of yira, fear. Fear meaning respect, meaning awe, not fear of punishment. That's not the idea here. And the idea is that we have something inside of us that we can find that will allow us to truly use our intelligence to connect in a way to God in a manner that there will not be a disconnect from this connection. And it's depending on two things that we have, that we can use our minds, that's so powerful. And what part of the mind? Das. Adam knew Eve. Knowledge. Knowledge means to connect with something so powerful that it becomes so real for you. That it becomes so real. So our five senses are very real to us, but that our spirit should be real for us. Our soul should be real for us. That God's presence should be real. And that we have a reverence because of God's presence in our lives. That's already a challenge. Well, we can get there, says the Alter Rebbe. How? How can we get there? Because the truth of what our soul is, it's in our soul. We just have to find it there. So what's covering our soul is our body, animal soul that has an agenda of its own. It just wants pleasure. It wants comfort. It doesn't want connection. I mean, to material things or to self-directed things that are, make life easy, so to speak. That's what the body wants. That's what the animal soul wants. To live on easy street, not to struggle. Coming from Pesach, where we had to work hard and struggle. So we need to be able to take that part of me that doesn't want to exert, doesn't want to struggle and go the extra mile and overcome that. That's the body. But then there's a second exertion that we need to have, and that's the soul. We have to reveal the power that we have in our soul. And that is exertion in a soulful manner. How? By reflecting, by being mindful, by meditating, taking the time necessary to find that which is within me, the treasure within me. That what? What's that treasure? Of my soul. That when I will contemplate, that I can have a sense of God actually standing over me, seeing my actions. And I'm overcome by fear / not fear of punishment, fear of presence. As we've said previously, that when you are in the presence of greatness, you act differently. When you're in the presence of anybody, you act differently than as you are on your own. When no one is looking, no one is seeing, no one is, But when there's someone seeing me, I act differently. Now, if that person's a great person, boy, do I act differently. Not because I'm worried about their sharp tongue. Not because I'm worried about, just instinctually, we act differently. So the Alter Rebbe says, all of us come from different levels in a hierarchy in the spiritual realm. Our souls come from different levels. So some people just, thinking for a moment that will bring enough of the inspiration that God's presence is there, and they will act differently. For others, they have to be more meditative about it. They have to be more engaged in it. And they won't be able to easily uncover the soulfulness that we have from within, especially because, sins of youth have now covered my soul to such a degree that I hear the body talk, but I don't hear my soul talk. Nevertheless, the Alter Rebbe says, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what gradation of soul you come from or what you've done to your soul in your lifetime. We all have the capability, if we exert ourselves with great toil, with intense mindfulness, intense concentration, immersing ourselves into God's greatness, God's presence, God's realness in my life. The Alter Rebbe says, we will certainly, come to have a sense of God's presence. As our sages say, that if a person labored and they found what they're looking for, that person you can believe. If they didn't labor, didn't work hard, and they say, well, I couldn't find. Well, obviously you couldn't find because you didn't look hard. But if you're going to look hard, you'll be able to find. Find what? You'll be able to find, just like you seek money, you search for a hidden treasure, you know that there's a treasure in your backyard. How? I'm giving this as a metaphor, of course. You know for sure that there is a treasure in your backyard. Are you not going to work tirelessly to find that treasure, to dig it up? We need to know that we have a treasure in our very soul. That is the soul's awareness of God's presence, of His realness in our lives. And we just have to dig it up, dig up our soul, that hidden treasure that's in our soul. And we can do it. And when we do that, what will happen? Again, just like the presence of a simple person, or moreover, the presence of a great person in the same room that you're in, you will eat differently, you will talk differently, you will behave differently. Just because of the presence of the individual, not because of anything they even say. Not because they're giving you, a look. No. Not because of what they're, right? But that we know, as the sages say, that God reflect upon three things and you won't come to do something wrong. Know what is above you, an eye that sees, an ear that hears. From the ethics of our fathers. And therefore God is seeing exactly what's going on inside of us, thoroughly, inside out. When we think about that, then whatever we're going to do next, like learning Tanya right now, we're going to do it with a greater exuberance. We're going to do it with a greater commitment to it, or a greater engagement. We'll be there. We'll be present. That's what's going to happen as a result. Powerful.